I think I just caught that. Why? What did you mean you didn't saturate like you would normally?
I was just kind of like getting it on really quickly. Like I'm thinking when my whole thought process behind doing the initial application was like, you know what? Let me get this on how a stylist would get it on, because they have, you know, no 2.5 hours, their next client's coming in. I mean, that's the reality of being in the salon.
I was feeling like it was just going through. Like, this looks amazing. I'm so excited to wash this out. Let me just take a peek at the back. Like, or not the back, we are in the back, but let me see what's kind of happening with these top foils here. This is looking, I'm just kind of blown away at how even of a lift this is. I don't know if you can kind of see, but you really can't, like, it just ate through that color like so great. I am so freaking excited. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wash out the back. Now, the front here was where we finished off. And even that looks good too, but it hasn't even been on for like the full amount of time. So I'm gonna let this process. I for sure need to rinse out the back though, just so we can like make sure the hair integrity is good, but we have no breakage, we have no nothing, we've got an even lift for the most part. I really love this canvas, super excited. Now, after taking a look at how her hair is lifting, I'm seeing a lot of warmth, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But my main goal is that I want to match it to her extensions. This is the type of tone that she's aiming for. You can see we have lots of 8s, 7s, some 6s in here, so lots of dimension. And that's essentially what I want to emulate. And I think we got that with the lift that we have. However, she did pull really warm. The initial lift that I saw didn't really reflect what I thought it was gonna look like, so it definitely has some orangey tones that I need to correct. So since Vibrance is new to me, I needed to pull up the chart. Now I know a lot of you guys do this, but here's the other kicker too. I am not used to like this European level system. I'm definitely used to more of the American level system, which uses letters, so numbers and then letters over here. So this is like what I'm pulling up. So after kind of taking a look at this, now I'm looking at this chart right here, and I would like to tone her at an 8 because she has a lot of 8s but with some 7s going on. So I'm almost kind of thinking like I definitely need some blue, I need some violet, but I'm okay with like a little beigey tone too. Now the beige is kind of like a muted gold according to Schwarzkopf. So I'm really liking the 7-24, but I think to introduce like the coolness, I'm gonna go with the 9-1 maybe. That's the blue violet. I kind of like digging that. I don't know, I might change my mind and do the 9-1 too, but that's basically like the color combo that I want to do. I didn't pick up like the 8-19, which is a blue violet. If you think that's like the wrong route, definitely let me know down below in the comments. I just want to get to this tone, so cross your fingers for me. Pray to the hair gods that we kind of get there. I'm gonna go ahead and check her foils right now because my timer just went off, and go ahead and wash her out, and I'll show you the canvas that I'm working on.
In all fairness, I literally was like the first time I was actually using it to correct a canvas, because I have used the Vibrance in the -00 series for gray blending. So I did do that on my channel and it did a phenomenal job, but doing gray blending versus correcting tone, totally different experience. So I literally was like staring at the chart, making sure I was like picking the right things. So.
I mean,
do I need to get a job as an educator here
I think
now?
so. Yeah. No, seriously, like that combo, like the 2 4s in Vibrance. I mean, I know this video isn't about Vibrance, but oh my God. The -42s, the -2 4s, like, oh my God, get you some. Cause it, like that blue was gonna cancel out that warmth that you got, the beige, like you said, soft kind of muted gold, like you formulated that like a pro, like an SKP pro, like that, of course you're a pro. Yeah, that was amazing.
All right, so I'm about to remove this, but look at how puffy this is. Can you see how much it swelled up? Like, look. So it definitely swelled up a ton. But we got a really good lift. Now, it does look a little This one in particular, like it looks a little warm from like here down, but I don't know, I feel like kind of comfortable with that. I think it's going to still be okay with, you know, a 7 and a 9 that we're going to hopefully make like an 8. You can even see too like how it pulled the warmth. But overall, I'm kind of liking this. I think this is going to work really good. I feel like also this is as much as we can push her hair. We've already processed for a while now. So I'm not mad about it. But again, once I rinse this off, you're going to see like how much this blue pigment from this bleach lightener really does play a trick on your eye, because it looks like it's super light, but it's actually not. Yeah, like even this little baby hair right here on the front hairline, her natural base just lifted so beautifully, but that old color just kind of, for some reason, right here in the front is having a little harder time. I was walking into this knowing that we were gonna have a little bit of a correction, that's for sure. And we're okay with this warmness that we got, because at the end of the day, the color that we're trying to achieve, it's not the coolest shade. I could definitely see that could be a concern for like doing scalp highlights. It didn't bleed through the foil though, it still stayed inside. I think if you just leave like maybe a little space, or I don't know if you have like a hack that you guys like doing for doing scalp highlights, like what do you do if it is swelling like that?
So really quickly about the puffy foils, I totally forgot to mention this, but I got a bunch of DMs from Schwarzkopf BLONDME 9+ lovers. Yeah. And they did admit that it does puff up a ton, but a little hack that they do to help circumvent that is they have a misty spray bottle, and they spray the water right onto the hair.
So like they would open up the foil, lightener's on, doing its thing, and then
Well, they say they put the lightener on, and before they close the first foil, they mist it, and then cover it.
And no problems.
And minimal swelling, like not the same amount of swelling that we would get.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that hack?
So, yes, variation of things that could be in anybody's hair, but you know, Oxygen developer, persulfates, lightener, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. So really my chemistry brain is saying to me that maybe on that specific client foil, I don't know, BLONDME in whatever mixture it was might be too strong. Like it might be like wanting to lift. So really that water bottle is telling me it's basically diluting the efficacy of the product. And I mean, it probably is room temperature and whatever, the head is warm, so you're kind of cooling it off.
Yeah, I kind of gather that it's basically diluting your formula, which I don't know why you would want to do that. So it was a hack that I tried, and it did kind of work. Yeah. It just like calmed it down, but I can't say that it made too much of a difference in lift factor. Right. But I just thought that was like such a weird off the wall hack that so many hairstylists use.
Let me ask you this, because I find that, because Schwarzkopf has other lighteners in other parts of our portfolio. I live in an area of the country, Chicago, where typically the water is so filtered. I don't experience some of these issues that maybe other people do in other parts of the country. So when this particular client said that there was warmth in the foils, and I know you said you felt it in the foils, I have felt it in the foils. Like, we're coming clean, like, yes, this happens. Maybe like explain the difference between like puffing, liquefying out of the foils in hot beyond touch versus what you experienced. Like, I feel like any lightener on the market is going to have some sort of expansion to some degree, because oxygen is oxygen and needs to go somewhere. Yeah. And you even said it, like, maybe like don't origami the foils so tight because that oxygen needs a place to escape, or like, what are your...
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, I think all bleach lighteners kind of behave a little differently, but they all do, or I can't say all of them swell, but a vast majority of them do swell. And so I think at the end of the day, you have to find a bleach lightener that you really love, know how to use it, know how it behaves, and kind of adjust for that. That's just kind of like my thing. Like if you really love the lift factor that we got out of this, right? And you say that a lot of you and a lot of other people also say that they love BLONDME with 7 vol, right? I mean, using 7 vol for a lot of lift is pretty impressive. So if that's something that you really enjoy using, that you're getting a low volume developer, getting the lot of lift, I think also just knowing the behaviors on how they work. And then also, like you mentioned, the area that you're living in. We live in California, so my client had a ton of mineral deposit. You could feel the film on her hair. That was something that I really didn't address in the original video. And again, hindsight looking back at this, I definitely could have done some type of mineral treatment, some type of clarifier, something to kind of prep her canvas before even going in with this, to also, I think, kind of mitigate.
But I mean, you don't know what you don't know, so.
Yeah, and I think a lot of hairdressers kind of learned that along the way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I will say, for those watching this video, I love a lot of like our artist teams and customers who enjoy BLONDME 9+ specifically. If you're used to working with another lightener that, let's say, gives you like up to 7 levels of lift, and you're used to mixing it with like 20 or 30, and you're stepping into BLONDME 9+ territory, I would almost even like lower your developer choice by like 1 level. If you're used to mixing 30, do 20.
Totally. I mean, just the fact that there's different lighteners inside of this portfolio already says that they all do different things. And it's a matter of like, what tool do you want to use to get there?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. See what else you got.
You see how like much orange is in there now? You can really see, like, after we took that blue pigment off of her hair, just rinsing off the bleach lightener, you can see how much orange is going on in here. So this is definitely like a level 7. We have some 8s in here though, but for the most part it is a 7. So I might have to adjust my formula up just a little bit. I would like to go on the lighter side of a 7. I think I'll still add the 9, but we'll just kind of see. I washed out her hair. We got a really gorgeous canvas. I can tell that we're gonna get the same type of dimension, not the extensions offer, because that was our goal. But you can see the type of lift that we got. Lots of different variations of the highs and lows, but still a pretty orange canvas. Again, we have level 7 and level 8. Towards the top though, like right here along her hairline, we did get a much lighter lift. You can definitely see, and this is where her like virgin hair is. So I definitely can see a huge difference on virgin hair versus the hair that has previous hair dye. So lots of orange pieces. Now, one of the negatives that remains true from the Ultimate Bleach Guide test is the lift and the neutralization, because as I was seeing it process, I was really wowed. And then as soon as the water hit it, I just kind of was like, wah, wah, wah. It just was left with a lot of warmth. So the neutralization part and the blue pigment in the lightener, I can't say did anything. I just would say it did absolutely nothing. We got a good lift and a relatively even canvas though, considering she kind of is a color correction. But I'm so glad I took off the lightener when I did, because again, her hair is a little fragile, and you can see like we got a little bit of compromisation going on, but nothing that we can't shape, trim off, and the extensions will kind of camouflage as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix up and get her toner.
2 things I want to ask you before we continue.
I'm scared.
No. I have this little saying that's kind of crude, but I think it's so true. Wet blonde hair sucks to look at.
It does. It's very ugly. I think blonde hair is the ugliest wet.
Oh my God.
I do say that, and I say that to my blonde clients, because sometimes they're like, oh, and I'm like, you need to wait till it's dry.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't look as great.
100%. So I will add, you're like, the blue in the powder did nothing. That is correct.
Yeah.
Because it does nothing. So math is math in there.
Definitely confirmed. I totally know that now.
But then what we're saying makes perfect sense. You rinsed out that lightener at the bowl and the hair was showing more orange, which makes sense because the powder is blue, color wheel. But then that also kind of brings me to like wet blonde hair sucks to look at, because then when it's dry, it's like I would even say like a level and a half, even sometimes 2 levels lighter than when it looks like wet.
Definitely.
Yeah, it changes because when it dries, you're not getting the wet saturation of, I don't know how to explain it, but I think most hairdressers know that blonde hair is ugly wet.
Totally. And then my other question was like, how much more time did the foils in the back have a chance to lift through that color than the front did, would you say?
I would say they had a little extra time just because the front of her hair, and which I think most of the population is the front of their hair tends to be a little bit more compromised or a little more fragile.
Yes, yeah.
So for that reason, I just didn't really feel comfortable leaving it on any longer than I did. And I'm glad I took it off when I did because she was already a fragile canvas. I thought she was like the perfect client to really like put this to the test. But yeah, I mean, I would probably say I left it on maybe 20 minutes less time than the back.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely like, you were kind of dealing with a minefield. Like, where is this old highlight? Where is the color treated? Like, you had to just call it a day. So
I just dove right in and was like, let's see what happens.
You did what you had to do, and like you did what any one of us behind the chair would have done in that scenario. So I'm glad you got the outcome that you did.
We're going with 6-0, and we're gonna do equal parts because 1-to-1 on the box. And I'm actually gonna use the 13 vol just because I do want a little bit of pigment shift on her hair. I want there to be that like natural warmth that just kind of like brightens her up just ever so slightly. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 20 grams of this and then 20 grams of our 13 ball. I just love how this smells. I think that's like my favorite thing about Vibrance. Okay, a little change of plans, just a small change. Okay, so I'm thinking, right, I need to control this orange and I need to control the orange at the level that we're at. So I do need the blue. Now, I really love the idea of the 7-24, but I don't think it's going to give me enough neutralization for the orange tones that I'm really, really looking for. Now, although the primary color from what I'm understanding is the 2, which is blue, and then the secondary light reflection is the muted gold or like beige, but just for like a little added endurance, I'm gonna add 7-1 to it, just like a little bit of this. So this is gonna be like, maybe I'll do like 1 ounce of this and 1/4 ounce of this, and then we'll finish up with the 9-1. So that way we can like brighten up the level 7, but we're still maintaining like a blue violet base with the light reflection of the gold. So that's kind of like how my brain's working. Let me know down below in the comments if you think that's like a good idea.
Tell me that is not what goes through every hairstylist's brain though.
I don't know if maybe the camera caught me. Like I was doing the math in my head, like, so she got 1 ounce of this, 1/4 ounce of that. But it makes sense because if you go on level with your ash tone, it's gonna go darker. So you're gonna brighten it with that level 9. Like, yes, I got it. The math was mathing.
I'm gonna go ahead and mix it up and hopefully this works out good. Oh, I'm gonna put this in a bottle. So I'm gonna do 1 ounce of this.
You can do both.
You get this. I'm gonna throw in, like I said, 1/4 ounce of my 7-1. This does look pretty dark on the swatch card. I'm not gonna lie, like on the...
Fun fact, I don't know if you knew this.
Probably not.
Schwarzkopf Professional, like when we print our swatch books, Royal, Vibrance, we print like on level. Okay. So
if we're looking at a 7, it's on a level 7.
It's on a level 7, not a white swatch. So when you look at like the screen, like the viewers will see, a lot of the swatches or little squares, they look not that different or a little deep or whatever, but that's because we didn't print them on white so that it would kind of alleviate some guesswork as to what you can expect from what you're choosing.
I mean, that's really good to know as a colorist.
Because you were like, I chose a 7, but it looks a little dark, but it's not. But I like the way, I still love your formula.
Online picture, so I don't really want too much of that. That's kind of what scares me. Like the darker that you go with your blue and your violet, the more opaque it kind of looks. And these are kind of on the opaque side, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm excited to use alkaline. I feel like that's kind of what we need just to kind of shift it a little bit.
What color is that?
This is 9-1, and this is what's gonna lighten and brighten our level 7 because I don't want a true 7. I want like an 8. Okay, so the gel activator is what you would use to do your application in a bottle. Perfect. Wait, 120, we're gonna go to 130. So we got it in the bottle. I think we're good to go. So I got 2 different formulas going on. I have the one at the root with the 6-0 with the 13 vol, and we're gonna blend that into the 6 with the gel applicator. So lots of different things kind of happening here, and I'm gonna wait to kind of mix this together. I'm feeling good about this formula.
So yeah, I think overall, like her hair lifted pretty good, like especially on this underside. So the heat definitely played a huge role. And I can tell a difference between the lift on the virgin hair versus like the ends. And you know, at the end of the day, that's kind of like all lighteners, I think. However, I just do really feel like this is pretty warm. And I would really still use like BLONDME on like a lighter canvas. It's kind of reminiscent of what I said in my other video. I just think like working on level 5 virgin, or like if you are working on someone really dark, it has to be like a virgin canvas for me to get like the type of lightness that I'm really looking for. Or I would feel really comfortable using this lightener on like level 6s and above for sure. Now when it comes to vibrance, OMG, like I just love this, how it spreads. It's so nice. So right now I'm basically working on getting her roots on with the 6-0, and then I'm gonna apply it right to her mids and ends. Now I am gonna go ahead and do the full 20 minutes for this. I don't know if there's any wiggle room or variables when it comes to that.
5 to 20 minutes.
Oh, it is 5 to 20 minutes?
It is.
Okay, that's good to know, because I thought this was like full 20-minute processing time.
So, I mean, if we want to quickly have like a chat about like demis, really, because like they're really popular right now. I feel like more than semis, because those are easy breezy what they are. Permanent is like a whole education moment. Demis, I feel like are, if not already, are becoming the most popular category of color out there.
I feel like it's the most used across the board.
100%. Yeah. With
at least in my salon.
Yeah, I think a lot of salons. So the thing to remember about Vibrance is that it has 2 different kinds of pigments. There are indirect and direct. I like to refer to that as kind of like already blown up balloons and then flat balloons that still need oxygen. Okay. It's a mixture of the both, right? Which is why you have activators in Vibrance, and you get to choose for those flat balloons, do I want to blow them up a little bit with 6 volume or more with 13 volume? Okay. So that's why like when you have like a red shade, you'd probably use the 13 volume
for a little bit more vibrancy.
You got it.
Yeah.
But you said something here that like sent me to heaven. Is that our Demi Vibrance is on the alkaline side of the scale, which I am a little biased towards, obviously, but I like, because if I don't want a shift, I can pretty much get away with 6 volume if that client doesn't have crazy fine hair. But if I do want to shift, I do want to see some of that warmth, and I want to give my toner some like muscle. Yeah. 13 volume in an alkaline Demi, like,
I will say I'm a little on the favorable side to an alkaline.
Alkaline Demi?
Yeah, I love an alkaline Demi. I feel like, especially with Vibrance as a whole, it just gives you a lot of variables. It's not just one developer option. So I think for that reason, it makes it the most versatile type of demi-permanent to use, because you, like you said, you have the 13 vol for like a little bit of base shift, a little bit extra pow, more vibrancy, or you can do
6 volume.
6 volume and just get that really nice deposit. But I do think you get a little bit more saturation out of an alkaline base, which essentially is, I like that. And I think it just kind of depends on like the finish you want.
Everybody has a place at the table.
Yeah.
I think we're at the head of the table, but you know, I think I love the versatility of it, and like
it's truly a versatile demi-permanent, that's for sure. And this was the first time that I used it on a client, by the way.
Oh my God, you nailed it.
So when would you suggest to do 5 minutes versus 20 minutes processing time?
Okay.
Like, is there a difference in longevity, for example?
Yes.
If we left it on for 5 minutes, are we gonna have a little bit less longevity versus the 20 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Like the two case scenarios that I would see like most common are like in our blonde toners, 100%. Like if you mix them with 6 volume just for that deposit and you had like 5 minutes to put them on, I'd say that's a great.
Like you just need something like a little sheer tone.
Yeah. But if I'm using one of those light toners to like cut some yellow, I'm probably gonna wanna go the full 20 to make sure that I'm giving it the time that it's doing its job.
Okay.
If I was gonna like refresh your color or do like a proper toner, like what you're doing here to like correct and like kind of, for lack of better phrases, like that stubborn kind of brassy, warmy, coppery hair, like a 13 volume with alkalines just kind of like get in there and kind of like mush around, then I'd probably go the full 20 like you did here. Yeah.
Well,
We'll find out. Yeah. Either way, it turned out great. But I'd say, yeah, you have that flexibility. Bottom line, no matter what, IGORA Vibrance, the less you leave it on, the less it will stay in the hair. The longer you leave it on, the longer it will stay in the hair.
and it lasts up to 26 washes. Is that what I read online?
So the majority of Vibrance is up to 25 shampoos, but like some of our pastel shades already, even if you leave them the full 20 minutes, are going to be about 10 to 12 shampoos, I'd say on average.
I mean, that sounds about fair, right? Like pastel's pastel.
Show me a pastel toner in the world right now that lasts 6 months and
It doesn't exist.
But keep in mind, like, I really do want there to be a base shift with this 6-0. I do love the option with an alkaline-based color system that we're gonna have that. And yeah, and one of the things I just really like about this, it literally just spreads so easily. So now that I got that on, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start putting this on. So let me shake this up a little bit. I'm so excited. It's the first time I'm using this gel, so let's go for it. Okay, I did not need that much. Did not need that much. Okay, this feels a little weird for me. I'm just so used to using a cream all the way through. But I like it. I like the idea that I do have a quick application option. Okay, let's try this one more time. Yeah, don't need that much, Mirella, don't need it. But yeah, that goes through really nicely. Now, one of the things I do like about Vibrance is that it has a lot of different options. It has a lot of versatility. You can do a base shift if you want. You can do deposit. You have the cream and then the gel activator. Honestly, I feel like it's your all-in-one go-to. So I'm really excited to see the type of deposit that I get from this, and I'm really hoping that I love it. Because again, this is the first time I'm using it on a client. Doing something on a swatch obviously is so different, and we kind of saw that today with using the bleach lightener on a client today. We got a much different type of process and end result for sure. Now, one of the things that I'm really hoping I'm doing correctly, because I am a big rule follower, however, I didn't really do too much research on this brand before trying it today, but I really hope that it's okay to do a cream 13 volt application into the 6. I don't know if that's like a...
Is it? I'm assuming so, right?
oh my God, yeah. I mean,
I would assume you're gonna get the transition from the base shift into like more deposit.
yes.
Which is exactly what I
100%.
wanted.
You nailed it, absolutely. I can't genuinely think where there'd be a world where I would mix the gel and the lotion together in the same thing. Again, if you want to be creative.
I don't know if that would even make sense.
No. Gel for bottle, lotion for bowl and brush on average. But yeah, like that consistency you get from the lotion. I think what you did here with the lotion being a little thicker doesn't allow for that shadow root to come down too far because the gel is what really helps spread. So
Yeah.
that exact, for not having used Vibrance before, you kind of like intuitively just harnessed how I would even use it in this exact same scenario.
Okay, awesome. Good to know.
I don't know if that's like a super big no-no rule breaker. Oh, did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
But I do love how nicely this gel activator is working. Like, I definitely feel like this could be really great for like bowl application for something really quick. I almost feel like I'm taking almost too thin of sections, but again, this is the first time I'm using it, so I just want to have that extra insurance. And so far, I mean, it looks like I'm getting some good control out of this. So I'm gonna continue on with this application through the front. This will be really fun to see the base shift too, especially because she has fine hair. And that's, I would probably say that's like one of the complaints that people have about alkaline base, but I think if you like don't know how to use the alkaline base, then I can see how like you wouldn't like that if you're not expecting it to do that, you know? I like the base shift sometimes, in some cases. There's always like a purpose for that. You know, because I'm working here in the front, I want there to be some like uniformity with the way that it's looking or depositing on the front. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other side. So I just finished doing my application. It's already processing. It's honestly kind of freaking me out a little bit because it is oxidizing really quickly. I can't really see too much of the highlight, but then when I wipe this off, it's looking good. It's looking good. I just hope I didn't put too much blue in this formula, but so far it's doing great. I'm gonna go ahead and keep an eye on it. I know I'm supposed to do 20 minutes, but maybe out of anxiety, I might do a little less than that. We shall see. And once we're all done, I'm gonna show you the final results of her color before we even put it in the extensions to see if they even match.
Okay, so it did give me an anxiety attack.
Okay.
Majorly. That was my cue for like cut the camera because I
Sure.
was like, I don't want to. I need to like have my own panic attack in peace.
Yes.
It did oxidize.
Panic attack in peace.
It did oxidize rather quickly. It was just something I wasn't expecting. And yeah, when I was wiping it clean off the hair, just to kind of see like how much deposit, if I was able to see a little bit of the highlight,
Yep.
and I started not to.
Yep.
So then I was like, literal mini panic attack. And so I did rinse her out a little prematurely.
Sure.
And after I did, I was like, you know what? I totally had more wiggle room to let this process. So now that I know that, and now just even knowing how you said the swatch, you know, it's on level, I feel like that would help substantially for a new colorist using this line for the first time.
Like, I wish that I could like clone myself to be like just on somebody's shoulder to be like, no, trust it, let it go. But I'm gonna say this, every Demi is not created equal.
Right.
Ours does have those two kind of pigments, and our Schwarzkopf Professionals pigments they're rich, they're intense, they're saturated, they're vibrant, and the formula, while oxidizing, is not translucent. It is not transparent.
Yeah.
And so it is a little bit of a blind leap of faith to be like, I put an 8, I hope it's gonna be an 8.
Yeah.
However,
I will say this, I saw it and I was like, I want to take this off so bad, but I did give it an extra 5 minutes.
okay.
And that's all I was willing to do.
Nah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. But and I was gonna say, however, that there is that wiggle room of 5 to 20 minutes. So I will also add, the less time you leave Vibrance on, the less longevity you'll have. If you're going for correction, like neutralization, canceling out brassiness, anything like that, the less you leave it on, the less effect you get. So I would say because of that 5 to 20 minute window, you were completely right to rinse it off whenever you wanted within there. You just might get less longevity, less neutralization. However,
Yeah.
she looks amazing.
Yeah, I do think like I rinsed it off at the right time.
Agreed.
But knowing now, I know that I could maybe leave it on longer if I wanted that extra
Yep. Yeah.
deposit.
So I would first time users, Vibrance does oxidize opaque, dark. It's not transparent, it's not see-through. It is a little tricky to gauge to the naked eye if you're used to a brand that does show translucent. However, the benefits on the flip side of that with longevity, neutralization, shine, oh my God, the shine. You can see it, and she had fragile hair, and yep.
Now here's the final result. I think we totally nailed this entire look, matching it to her dream hair color to the hair extensions. My ultimate favorite part of this entire look is actually the base shift that we got right at the top. It looks really natural and blends seamlessly into my cool shade toner. Overall, I think the BLONDME Bleach Lightener did a really good job in giving me the type of lift that I needed. Now, there were some hiccups with the type of warmth and underlying pigment that was exposed, but I really felt that the Vibrance did an amazing job of neutralizing all of those orangey yellow tones that were throughout. It did swell up quite a bit, and it also produced a lot of heat. So I don't know if this was just a one-off or something that kind of was underlying with her hair with mineral deposit or product deposit.
So I'm thoroughly impressed for somebody who hasn't really played a lot with and like has gathered your own nuances for BLONDME 9+. I think this is such an accurate representation of like what happens when somebody picks up a tub of 9+ and they use it for the first time in salon. But I'm so happy that we got to have this time to even talk about like 7 volume or the differences between like the mixing ratios of 1 to 1.5, 1 to 2.5, tips, tricks on like how to mix it. But that like ultimately at the end of the day, because of those other tips or tricks or things that we talked about, it really kind of could be for every blonde, every like color correction moment. Like I use it on when I am blonde, I use it on myself with 20 volume to get lift. I use it on my sister who's lighter than me with 7 volume for her face frames. I mean, I use it on curly hair, dry hair, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously I work for the company and I've learned how to like, manipulate it. But I do have to say, if I had one lightener out of the 5 that we offer in our portfolio that would be the most versatile for me to take with me somewhere, it would absolutely be 9+.
Yeah, I think this was a really good lightener, and this kind of showcased too how it doesn't necessarily have to be for all of those like platinum cards, the bleach-in tones that we see a lot on Instagram. Right. This was like a good representation of how it worked really well in a color correction scenario, but it gave me the dimension that I needed. I didn't get any breakage off of it, and I gave it a tough job this go around, that's for sure. So I do think for that, it is a really good go-to daily, everyday use bleach lightener.
Well, I hope we like helped you with like at least just some suggestions or things like that. I'm excited to see like what else you do with it.
Definitely. I learned a lot of new things today from just being here with you guys and just learning from, the national educator trainer.
Yeah. 6 of 1.
But yeah, no, it's really great to kind of get a little bit more insight, just everything from like the swatches to, formulation, little tips on how to mix. Definitely looking forward to applying a lot of these things and giving it another go.
Nice.
I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. If there were some tips or new things that you learned about BLONDME like I did in this video, please let us know down below. And if you want to check out the full video and all of my other YouTube videos, make sure you head on over to Mirella Manelli. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all the good things.
Nice. Well, since I'm going to follow suit here and say thank you so much for our Schwarzkopf professional fans out there for chiming into our YouTube channel. If you want even more tips and tricks for anything that you've seen here or heard today, feel free to visit us at our eAcademy. You can also find education information at our schwarzkopf-professionalusa.com. And if you need a laugh, check us out on TikTok. But ultimately, where you will find the most edutainment is on the Schwarzkopf Professional channel here on YouTube.
Love it. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.